This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Now we're ready. There he is, locked and loaded. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
Feeling great, Got the spring game tonight. Hoping to stay dry as I venture into Fort Lauderdale. But we will see. Hopefully the everything goes off without a hitch tonight.
You have your floaties with you.
I got my floaties with me. I'm going to bring my canoe. Everything needed to survive tonight's venture into Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. All right. Well, then you should be fine. Now, rumor has it this is your last day with the Athletic because you are now the Cavender twins agent now in WWE. Is that true?
That's correct. I'll be leaving to represent them. I'll actually be involved in a few of the matches as sort of like a Lady Elizabeth, but the male version. I'm going to be doing some of that stuff.
Are the Cavender twins? Let's. This is a subject nobody has talked about here in town. Are they the greatest business athletes you have ever met in your life in South Florida history?
Certainly from a non-professional level, right? From collegiate. Yeah, absolutely. I think without question.
Barry, Memorial, you name it, every college in town, okay? Have you ever met a more savvy a pair of athletes ever than the Cavender twins?
It's hard to find one, to be honest. And I remember when they first came into town, John Reese had thrown a big bash over where the old Miami Herald building used to stand, and it was to sort of get all of the Life Wallet athletes together. And I remember they walked into this private little event, and I'm like, is that the Cavender twins? Like you're like starstruck a little bit, right? Like, who are these girls? Right. And ever since they've set foot in Miami, man, it's been nothing but great for them. And now their careers are just beginning to take off, man. I mean, the most important thing in life now, it seems like it's more famous it's more important to be famous just for being famous, right? I think that's if you could do that, if you've got a following, you are made in life.
Right. And to their credit, I'm so impressed because they're so in control of what they're doing. And they are dictating, kind of like what I would love for Bam Adebayo to do every night, kind of, right. The twins impose their business will on everyone. And to me, it's so impressive because the basketball season ends, brother, and they're transitioning right away to WWE. And it's like, I'm blown away, dude. I'm blown away with the following, the amount of sponsors that they have, the way they carry themselves. You know what I'm saying? That's the other thing, that when you're that famous and you have all those people following you and all that, it's so easy to get tripped up and all that stuff. And brother, they ride that line perfectly, man. They know how to promote themselves. They know how to be sexy at the same time, to sell themselves, but still do it in a classy fashion and all those kind of things. They're really smart, man. I'm blown away I'm blown away by the maturity of their, of who they are, the maturity in the way that they've carried themselves. It's really impressive.
Yeah, and I think it just goes back to their parenting, the father, being a smart guy, knowing how, teaching them the ropes early, and then and the girls wanting that lifestyle, right, and wanting to accept it, because some of them, you deal with a lot of criticism, a lot of haters in this world, and as beautiful as both of them are, and as marketable as both of them are, that they don't have. Not everybody's a fan, right? Somebody out there is I'm sure saying negative things about them, and to deal with that sort of public space at a young age, because they've been doing this a long time now. This isn't like they just came to Miami and did this. They were doing this out in California when they were playing out there. So I think that takes a special person to be able to handle all that.
Shit, they were on Good Morning America or some shit yesterday or the day before?
Yep. Like, yeah. They're all over the place, man. People want to know about them. I mean, they really are like the Kardashians of sports. They really become that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Except no sluttiness. Anyway, let's get spring football. What are you looking forward to? Tell the fan that is going to go watch the practices. What should they be looking for? What is Manny Navarro looking for?
Well, I think the one thing I always look for in the spring game is the transfers, right? How do they look? How are those guys sort of carrying on? How do they fit in? Do they look like they're a step ahead of the guys that were previously here? Do they look like they just sort of fit in? I think the freshmen, there's obviously a lot of them that got on the campus early, 15 of them. Francis Mauigoa at right tackle, Ray Joseph at wide receiver, Sam Okunlola, the other offensive tackle. Those guys on offense, I want to see because they have a chance to play this year. They have a chance to be, impactful freshmen. And then I would say on the defensive side of the ball, Ruben Bain, he's had an opportunity to get a lot of snaps at defensive end. He moves inside sometimes. I want to see how he's utilized. I want to see if he's getting first team reps. Mario Cristobal talked about it yesterday that he's going to play a lot of 1-versus-1s. In the past, we've seen first team guys on offense go against second team guys on defense or third team guys, and that's how they put up all their numbers. I want to see the first team guys versus the first team guys tonight a lot, and that's going to be interesting and fun to watch in this. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I think, again, I reiterate this every time I talk about Miami because I don't know who's tuning in when, but there's a lot of guys out. James Williams is out. Leonard Taylor is out. A lot of the better players on defense are not participating in this scrimmage. Obviously, Cam Kitchens he'll be out there, but you're going to get a chance to see a lot of younger guys, especially with the first team on defense, get some reps, and I'm interested to see how they hold their weight because to me, when I look at this team, I know this is crazy considering how poor they were on offense last year. I'm more worried about the defense than I am the offense going into the season. I think there's some holes at cornerback. I think there's holes at defensive tackle. I think the offensive line will be better. I think Tyler Van Dyke is going to be effective, even if he doesn't have a boatload of amazing receivers right now. I think he's going to be able to throw the football and have some success with the offense Shannon Dawson is running. So I guess for me, the bigger concern is defense and how much depth do they have at certain positions.
How about backup quarterback? How's that going to be handled?
Well, Jakari Brown is taking the bulk of the second team snaps in most of the practices, from what I've been told. So we're
no red shirting for him.
no red shirting for him at all. No, I mean I think he's the number 2 guy right now. I know Emory Williams. Everybody's excited about him, and he may very well be the heir apparent when Tyler is done. From now until next year is a long time for Emory Williams to develop and to see in which direction this offense goes, what works and doesn't work. But I think for right now, Jakari Brown, just like Jake Garcia was a year ago, he's the number 2 guy, and so I think he'll take the bulk of the second team reps. But we'll see some of Emory Williams, and we'll see what he looks like, and if he's a better fit for what they want to do with this offense.
What have you seen from Jakari, or what are you hearing about him?
I think Jakari look. His whole thing is consistency. Okay, he can make throws deep down the field. He's got the arm strength. He can make the in between throws. He's shown that. The problem is consistency with him. Right? There's 1 minute where he puts the ball on the money, and the next minute it's sailing 10 feet over a guy's head, or he doesn't know how to really put the touch on it enough. And he talked about that this spring, that he's really worked on trying to perfect his touch. Not having to throw something hard every single time he lets it out of his hand. And again, he's the special talent in my mind of all the quarterbacks at Miami because he's so damn athletic. I mean, if you can get a guy who's like Cam Newton, who can actually throw the football and be consistent, then you've got something really special at that position. But
it's a trophy guy if you could do that, bro.
Exactly. And we know Tyler's not a runner. We know Emory Williams isn't a runner. But the dual threat guys in college football, those are the guys that can take you places, that can really. I mean, De'Aaron King, we saw it with Miami a few years ago, right? When they got off to that great start, when they were 8-1, it was because De'Aaron King was dangerous back there. He could beat you with his arm and his legs. And so I think that's obviously the next frontier with Miami. But look, Shannon Dawson's.
We've watched the Florida State kid get better and better, so hopefully Jakari can kind of do the same thing, improve year to year, because Travis now has put himself in the Heisman Trophy race this year.
And the one thing I'll say about Jakari is the kid has a great attitude. You know, I've come across a lot of quarterbacks in this business, especially at Miami the last few years, who don't always have the greatest of attitudes, right? Who don't always have the kind of focus that they necessarily need to have. And I think Jakari, I remember going out to a workout for TVD where he's working out with Malik Rozier, and he's out there getting a ton of reps, and Jakari Brown is out there too because he wants to get better. And this is all in the off season, the summer and springtime. He's really focused and zeroed in on improving. And so I think, that's a good thing for Miami. He wants to be the leader of this team in the future. And so hopefully he gets there. Hopefully he develops that consistency, and Shannon Dawson brings out the best in him.
All right. So besides spring game, what else are you working on the Athletics so folks can check you out?
Well, we just put out a Q&A mailbag. Grace Rayner and I did. We put that out 2 days ago, I think, or yesterday. And I answered one of the questions about the transfers, the most impactful transfers in the conference. And I actually have two Hurricanes in the top 5 for the ACC. And one of them is center Matt Lee, who I rated number 2 of all the transfers that have come into the conference. I know there's been some quarterbacks. There's some really good DBs that have moved around. Fentrell Cypress is at Florida State. He was an All ACC cornerback last year, but I really think Matt Lee, the influence that he is going to have for Miami at center, is going to be huge. And Javian Cohen, the left guard who they got out of Alabama, I have him 5th. But there's a lot to read on the Athletic website. I already did my spring takeaways basically from all the practices. That's up there to read, and I'll have some coverage obviously tonight from the spring game, and then I'll be at the OT 7-on-7 event in Orlando. We're going to have a lot of recruits. Recruiting is going to heat up here now that spring football is over and done with. Between that and the transfer portal, which opens on Saturday, there'll be a lot of transactional type movement, and we'll start to see Miami start to pick up some steam, I think, on the recruiting trail.
All right, catch Manny tonight because, he went to cover a football practice and a water polo game broke out.
Yes, that may happen tonight again. I'm really hoping that's not the case.
Just saying, you think you're going to watch football. Surprised if you see a whole bunch of dudes just playing water polo in Fort Lauderdale. I mean, I'm just saying.
Hopefully,
floating with the helmet and the pads and the, that's going to be hard. That's a lot to write about right there because that's going to whatever talent can stay floating with the pads and the helmet and still score. That's the keeper right there.
All right, I'm looking forward to my wet football match tonight, brother.
Yeah. May the good swim be yours, and make sure you park the car by the closest pier.
Yes, that's the goal. And bring the canoe in as close as possible to the entrance of the stadium. Yeah.
Don't find a parking space, find a pier, and you'll be fine.
All right, brother.
Appreciate you, brother. All right, be good. Have a great weekend.
You too, man. Take care.
Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro.
If you're